Yo, what's up, friends? You're watching Fancy Pants Media, and in this video, we're going to be talking about getting those cinematic looks on the cheap. Hey, what's up, friends? You're watching Fancy Pants Media, the show that is all about taking your marketing and media to the next level. And when it comes to content creation, having something that looks cinematic is it's really in right now. And the reason that it's in is because it differentiates you from everything else out there. And so if you want to get away from the cell phone video, or you want something that looks really, really cinematic, this is a excellent choice to pick up. And those are vintage lenses. Vintage lenses are some of the best ways to get that cinematic look. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you want to pick up a vintage lens and add it to your arsenal. And the first is they are very inexpensive. Some of these lenses cost anywhere between 60 max, maybe $200. But the reason is that they're so inexpensive is because they're old, and you have to change the mounts. Like, a lot of them are going to be for Canon. An old Canon mount, so you have to buy an adapter. And the reason that they're so cheap is just because they're no longer used. But just because they're inexpensive doesn't mean they're bad quality. A lot of these are glass and metal, and just because it doesn't have the technology doesn't mean you're not going to get a great image out of it. So they don't have autofocus, and a lot of them are, you cannot control, aperture from your camera. But what's amazing is the images are going to look fantastic. The second reason you should be using a vintage lens for cinematic looks is because they are soft. They're a lot softer than some of the glass out right now. But they're very clear still. And I know that sounds different. Like you're saying it's soft, but also it's very clear. Well, the reason it is because it's glass. It's not plastic. And you can really see that plasticky look if you were to shoot like with a Canon, like the Nifty 50. Even though it gets a shallow depth of field, it just feels very, very plastic. And the image doesn't bounce quite the same way that other images do. And so, yeah, if you pick up a vintage lens, it's glass, it's soft, it has quirks, but it adds a bit of character. It adds this bit of nostalgia. So even if you're shooting like high-end stuff that you want to make look really, really good, and you don't have the budget for lenses, picking up a vintage set is going to be really, really awesome. And the third and final reason is because when they're mounted to a camera, they just look cool. People are like looking like, what lens is that? What do you have on there? And a lot of them are a lot smaller and a lot lighter. So traveling with vintage lenses, is super, super easy. So you're not going to have to have to buy a huge Pelican case for each one of these. The one that I'm recommending today is the Helios 44-2. And the reason I like the Helios 44-2 is because it has something called swirly bokeh. Swirly bokeh is this effect where you have your subject in the forefront, and everything behind it kind of feels like it's a dream, like it's spinning. And it's an effect that only a few lenses have. There are some brand new lenses that you can go out there and pay like $400 or $500 for that have that effect built into them, and they're a little bit cleaner, they're a little bit crisper. But if you want to get something for like $60, the Helios 44-2 actually is for sale right now on eBay for like $60. So it's like a no-brainer. This is it's like a 3-4 mount. I have an EF adapter on it, and as you can see, that it's really just there to be put on the lens, and then you get your your focal lengths. So talking about focal lengths, this thing shoots an aperture of 2 all the way to f/16. And then it also has a focal range of infinity, and it's in meters. So you're going to have to 0.5 meters. So half a meter, what is that? 2.5 feet, right around 2 feet. 1.5 feet, right around there. And that's going to be a pretty nice distance because you're not going to have to be so far back. It also gives you just enough comfortable room between you and your subject. So that is fantastic, having that kind of range, that it's not like a 3-foot throw. The other thing that's really cool about this is it being glass, but everything is declicked. Like it is all manual. So if you needed to change your aperture, or if you needed to change your focus, the really nice thing about it is there's not going to be any hard stops. I will say this though, this lens does breathe quite a bit. So if you know anything about that and you don't like that look, you might just want to shoot static on it. But it is one of those things. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. This paired with the Blackmagic Pocket 6K has tremendously phenomenal results. It looks like a movie, and if you add that color correction, to make it look a little bit vintage, you can get some looks just like this. My final thought on the Helios 44-2 as a vintage lens for shooting cinematic is that you probably also want to get an ND filter for this. And you can use, you can use the ND filters that are like 4x4s with a matte box. That is, if you really want to get into filmmaking, you need to just invest in that to begin with. But the reason that those types of filters, in my opinion, are the best is because it's not going to matter the diameter of the lens, because these are constantly changing. This one, I think this is I could be wrong, but I think it's a 42 millimeter. And it's an internal thread. And so, like spending some money for your ND filters or your Pro Mists, those filters, it could get a little bit pricey. So I would just suggest you get the 4x4, and use it with a matte box, and that's going to really take your filmmaking to the next level as well. But yeah, it's also going to give you that nice shallow depth of field right in the sunlight if you're going to need that. That would be my only recommendation on the thing that you want to add to this. You can go on eBay right now, pick one up for yourself. If you have any questions for me about filmmaking, about marketing, or about content creation, you can hit me up on any of the social medias at Nick_Obaye. And until we chat again, I hope you tell the world a great story. Peace.